for some reason, the Epstein thing gets blamed on you. And there's a lot of this on the internet. There are people with millions and millions of followers in posts that have been seen millions and millions of times accusing you of being a spy for Israel.
Aside from all the other stuff that's hurtful, the fact that I've dedicated myself to this movement, to good values, to speaking to children, to doing things that I thought were good, that were in line with my values, but also the fact that it's accusing me of manipulating the person that I'm with, that I love. That's a horrible accusation.
That was the girlfriend of FBI Director Kash Patel. Her name is Alexis WIlkins. And the conversation she was having with Megyn Kelly dates back to July of this year. She was essentially addressing allegations that she is part of a Mossad honeypot scheme, which I personally haven't seen any evidence of whatsoever. It's entirely possible that Kash Patel is really bad at his job because Kash Patel is not qualified for the job that he was appointed for. But nonetheless, she's now seeking $5 million in damages in the 3 defamation lawsuits that she has now filed against individuals who are claiming that she is a Mossad agent, or at least that's what she's claiming that they're saying about her. Now, look, I'm going to be honest. I don't follow the work of these individuals closely. So I don't know whether they actually have just flat out said, this woman is a Mossad honeypot. But what I do know is being defamed sucks. Or when you think you're being defamed, it does suck. When you see people lying about you and who you are and what you represent, it really does suck. It happens to me all the time. And a hard lesson that I've had to learn over and over again when I have urged Cenk to file a defamation lawsuit when we're being defamed is that it always backfires. It always backfires. Unless you're Johnny Depp, that was maybe the one case where it didn't backfire. But defamation lawsuits, I don't think most people were talking about Alexis WIlkins. But now everyone's talking about Alexis WIlkins. And it makes people think, I don't know, is she a Mossad spy or is she an agent? Like, I haven't seen any evidence proving that. So I don't think she is. Okay, I'm gonna have to see a little more than a dopey boyfriend acting in a strange way to think that the girlfriend is the one that's like, pulling strings or something, or is like a subversive, foreign agent. But nonetheless, she has filed lawsuits against 3 people. Here are the 3 individuals: Kyle Seraphin, who is a former FBI agent turned podcaster; Sam Parker, former US Senate candidate in Utah; and Elijah Schaefer, who's a conservative influencer and CEO of Rift TV. So WIlkins filed the case against Seraphin in August, while the other 2 lawsuits were filed within the last few weeks. And here's what she is claiming. In each lawsuit's court filing, WIlkins states that Seraphin, Parker, and Schaefer have perpetuated a malicious lie about Alex WIlkins, falsely claiming that she, an American-born country singer, is an agent of a foreign government assigned to manipulate and compromise the director of the FBI. But I don't know why they think that. Apparently she worked at PragerU, and yes, PragerU is like a very pro-Zionist organization. There's no question about that. Simply being a former employee of PragerU doesn't mean you're a Mossad spy. And look, I get how strange it is that a woman as beautiful as she is dating, I'm not trying to be overly insulting to Kash Patel, but come on. I get it, it's strange. But I mean, but women sometimes have strange taste, it's okay. It doesn't necessarily mean that something nefarious is going on. And some women like power. FBI director screams power, maybe you're able to kind of overlook everything else. But let's get to more details. So the suit accuses these individuals of using this fabricated narrative as self-enriching clickbait and seeks to hold them accountable for malicious lies and knowing that they're lying. And remember, when it comes to defamation, you have to prove malice, malicious intent, right? That's why defamation lawsuits in the United States are really, really difficult to prove. Now, FBI Director Kash Patel has had his own little honeypot issue that's been going on of late. So we're just going to acknowledge it real publicly. He's got a girlfriend that is half his age, who apparently is both a country music singer, a political commentator on Rumble, a friend of John Rich through Bongino, who also now owns a big chunk of Rumble. And she's also a former Mossad agent in what is like the equivalent of their NSA. That's what Kyle Seraphin allegedly said on August 22nd, 2025. So, you're declaring something, you're stating something as fact, and that does make you vulnerable to defamation if those claims are not true. In regard to her dating Kash Patel, Seraphin allegedly sarcastically said, but I'm sure that's totally because she's really looking for he's saying this, not me, cross-eyed, kind of thickish built, super cool bro who's almost 50 years old, who's Indian in America. It has nothing to do with the fact that we're really close to the Trump administration. Anyway, I'm sure that's totally just like love. That's what real love looks like. Kyle, you never know what real love looks like. You really don't, right? Again, you have to be super careful and be responsible with what you're saying, because you have to provide evidence that she's a Mossad agent. Where's the evidence? So similarly to Seraphin, Schaefer apparently posted something insinuating Wilkins was a honeypot without naming her, and there's no case there. I'm not even going to waste my time. Insinuating something it's just not. You're not going to win in court if you're filing a defamation case against an insinuation. And as for Parker, here's what he wrote on X. Why is a 24-year-old devout Christian hooking up with a Hindu? Who cares? What do you mean? Hindu Indian old enough to be her dad at a Christian nationalist conference. Weird, Parker wrote in one post listed in the legal complaint. Another post cited in the complaint reaffirmed his, meaning Parker's, intention on February 28th, 2025, when he suggested Ms. Wilkins' presumed Israeli status is why the Epstein files have not yet been publicly released. Sam, I'm going to tell you why they haven't been released. Because we have a bunch of disgusting pedophiles in our government, including in the Trump administration, I'm assuming. That's why they haven't been released. I mean, to pin the blame on one woman when you don't have any evidence of it, I think is kind of ridiculous. Anyway, the list goes on and on. I don't even know if I want to get into all of these details. I just think the attacks on her, I would be fine with if they presented any evidence bolstering the claims being made about her. But from what I've seen, there hasn't been any proof, there hasn't been any substance to the claims. But I'll also say this, the suits I don't think are gonna work out well for Wilkins either. So number one, I mean, if you're filing a lawsuit like this, you open yourself up to discovery. And through discovery, people could discover a lot of things about you that you don't want discovered. The fact that she's willing to file these lawsuits means, okay, well, maybe she really doesn't have anything to hide. Or it could mean that she's pursuing a strategy here that will not bode well for her. We're just gonna have to wait and see. But what I do know is that now everyone is asking, is Alexis Wilkins a Mossad agent? And that's the thing that sucks about defamation lawsuits. It's called the Streisand effect, which is why when you decide to make yourself a public figure, the huge downside to that is people are gonna lie about you all the time. And oftentimes your only recourse is to ignore it. Just a word of advice.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.